Let's get another view now with Anders Aslund. He is a senior fellow at the foreign policy think tank Stockholm Free World Forum, joining us live from Washington, D.C. And Anders, you've been following this situation as well. Just give me a sense of how you see it unfolding from here, because we have a Russian convoy just outside of Kiev. The thinking is that President Putin could perhaps double down over the next 24 to 48 instead of backing down. Sanctions are one thing, but for how much longer is the West just going to stand back and let this situation in Ukraine unfold?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good question. I think that this is a very serious situation, but it's more serious for the Russians than for the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have now held their own very well, far better than anybody expected. The Russian military has made every mistake that you can imagine. It looks as bad as the Russian military at World War I or in Afghanistan. So I think that they are really getting into big trouble. The Ukrainian claims that in the first 4 days they killed 4,500 Russian soldiers, which is a lot. During 9 years in the war of Afghanistan, the Soviet Union lost 15,000 soldiers. So this is really quite serious. The Russians seem to be making every mistake that you can make. And right now, as you're so well showing, how do you handle such a convoy? You just burn them. And this is what Ukraine has done repeatedly. They have burned at least 4 big convoys of tanks and armored vehicles because they were driving too closely to one another. Exactly the same mistake as the Russian military did in Georgia in 2008. And what have we seen in Moscow today? We have seen a massive run on the banks. I try to follow the Russian government websites. They've all been down. I follow the websites in Kiev. They have all been up. Electricity works in Ukraine throughout the country. So Russia is out of order while Ukraine functions perfectly. This is a massive failure of management and logistics of the Russian government.
And as some even suggesting that the Russians have been showing professional incompetence here when it comes to their advance on Ukraine. But I want to get a sense from you about what could happen next. Is the door still open for more forceful actions against the Russians if the geopolitical situation warrants over the next few hours and days?
I have several friends in Ukraine who are engaged in the territorial defense and also in the senior levels. They are adamant. The Ukrainians have a wonderful spirit. They are defending themselves. So what we are seeing right now is somewhat contradictory to prejudices. The Russians are corrupt and disorganized and don't know what they are doing. The Ukrainians are decentralized and very focused on what they are doing. And the losses on the Ukrainian side have been far lower than on the Russian side, whatever number we trust. So I think that the Russians are simply losing and they are not moving ahead.
Right.
And they lost a big convoy trying to enter Kiev from the east yesterday with a Chechen general who's feared. And they just burnt it out for 2 kilometers or so because they were too close to one another, because they were unprofessional. So I think that what we are likely to see is that the Russian military will be completely discredited after this.
Okay, Anders, and just before we let you go, with regards to what we've heard from the Ukrainian president now suggesting that he would like to fast-track Ukraine's entry into the EU, is that a realistic proposal at this point? Obviously, the Europeans and the Ukrainians have considered this in the past. It's now appearing to be a more urgent priority for Ukraine. What's your view on how you see that unfolding?
2 points. One, it's not realistic, but it's clever. So what President Zelensky effectively is doing is that he's utilizing the full leverage of his current situation, saying, we want to join the European Union. Who are you? And the European Union say, we love you. But you have to adopt a few hundred laws. That takes a few years. So we will see some funny ballet dancing here where the EU will say, yes, we want you, but we can't adopt you immediately. And the Ukrainians will then get on track. I think it's a very good start.